Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media. Over 75,000 titles to choose from for your iPod, iPhone, or MP3 player.
Dude, you're an asshole.
Wrestling Mayhem Show
.com.
It's the best day of the week. Today is the day that you have chosen to listen to the Wrestling Mayhem Show. This is DJLunchbox, putting it the fuck down for you. Let's fucking do this. Monday night, you know it must be raw. Leaders being a whore and not wearing a bra. Seen his damn belt still spin around his waist. I can ship at a rhymes on what comes out of his face. Tuesday night and it's EC Dub. Michael Q Knoxville join the club. If he's sick of the shit, scream out boo boo. This ain't EC Dub and we can tell that too. Wednesday night, ROH on DVD, the best wrestling on the planet to the nth degree. Joe Damon's Delirious, Daniel City, Kim McCarthy, Homicide, the Rottweilers, and Kenta Kobashi. Thursday night, TNA on Spike. Bruce is spoken, so that means I'm puking blood tonight. Shut up and show me the damn X division and get SoCal balance in my line of vision. Friday night SmackDown, this is all life. Kicking back, watching wrestling every night. Kenny, Boogeyman, Helms, Hardy, Guerrero, London, Kendrick, and stealing the show. RWF Scion in the weekly features. You're a student, we are the teachers. Shout outs to Jimbo's crew and to the D's, putting it down for Vim with the greatest of ease.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Wrestling Mayhem Show. We're full of assholes. It's been verified. It's episode 223. It's an odd number. So that means we don't have a guest, because that's how it seems to work out. So I am your master of ceremonies, Sorgatron, right here. And we got 3 parts of the Brady Bunch going on here. Right there for you video guys. Up in upper left the block is the Wrestle Fan. And dogs. Are you working this week? Do we have any problems with your mic, with your headphones? Are you available?
I think I'm good.
All right, good. And of course, on the upper right there is the Mad One, Mad Mike, straight out of the Bronx, looking around.
Bronx.
That's right. It's
rap for Bronx.
He's looking for a Pirates win because it's non-existent, and he's wearing a Yankee shirt. Right there, represent, and. On the bottom, where he likes to be, is DJ Lunchbox.
Oh, I do enjoy to be the bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday. It is the greatest thing that could happen to you on this Tuesday or any other, and it is time for the Wrestling Mayhem Show. I am, in fact, DJ Lunchbox with the Mad Mike and the Wrestle Fan, and of course, the Master of Ceremonies himself, the Sorgatron.
That's me right here. And another crazy week. Man, the fallout from last week's episode has been phenomenal. But before we get into that, no guests this week. We do have one scheduled for next week. One Butterbean who will be here in town for FNW to take on friend of the show, SJK. We'll be mentioning a little bit about that later probably. What's that?
It's going to be amazing.
Butterbean.
There you go.
You should bring in Doc
knock out something wrestling champion of the world.
There you go. Of course, if you want to participate in this show, we are a fan service show. Of course, we'd like to hear about you. Something's breaking in the background. What's going on?
When was the last time you serviced a fan?
That's the special service for the Silver Edition. You know where to get them. But if you want to be in contact with us in some way or another, in less filthy ways, you can email us at goodtimes or follow us on Twitter. Good, I threw you off. Follow us on Twitter or WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Send us an email at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Drop us angry voicemails or drunken ones at 412-206-WMS0. And of course, as always, check us out on the site. Check out our delicious.com/wrestling mayhem for a lot of the links for the news that we talk about on this show. It's our note-taking device. You can check out our Mayhemware on the site. Please visit our sponsors. Click on the stuff on the side to help support the show. Go check out their services. We wouldn't have them up there if we did not believe in them, except for Google, because they're kind of random. Also, I'm wearing this hat because these are our benefactors that have helped us to great success with the Wrestling Mayhem Show Gold app, where if you tuned in last week after the show, you saw some of the aftermath of a lot of the discussion in the interview and everything, and some of the why it went down kind of stuff. And today you will see the Brady Bunch deal. So for this episode, thanks to our friends Malengo and Chachi from the Awesome Cast previous to this. So go check them out. awesomecast.com. We're having a lot of fun with that. But you can check that stuff out right here on your iPhone if you do have that. I will be inquiring about other platforms because the Android is getting pretty big and everything.
Ooh.
So
I got one of them right here.
yeah, there, he's got an Android.
Them dang old Androids right here.
Now, there's a question for those that have an Android. Since you are the resident expert with one of those phones, LB, how would one get the Mayhem on that phone?
How would one get the Mayhem on this phone?
Yes.
Well, you'd have to go for the more traditional method of downloading it through iTunes or off of our website over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com and putting it on here the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
Downloading it as an MP3, or you can download it as a MP4 video file and upload on here as well.
There are like podcatcher kind of applications for that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's podcast or podcasting apps on here, and they also go through like iPhone goes through iTunes. This goes through Amazon.com, and I have not messed with that application at all.
Yeah, I don't think there's any podcasting side to that at all.
Mm-mm.
So
no, I like the phone though. I'm a big fan of this phone.
Which one is that? It's one of the droids, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just the regular HTC droid. This is like 2 steps down from the Incredible, which is just coming out or something like that. It's nice. It's only like an 8 gig thing, but it's got an upgradable micro SD card. The camera's pretty nice. I don't know the specs on the camera because I don't really use it much, but it's a decent little app. My favorite thing about this over the iPhone is that there's a task killer app. So whenever things start running hot and heavy, you can just shut things off here and there.
There you go. And I think we just had a little preview of the Awesome Cast with that discussion. So if you like that kind of talk, go check that show out. We talked about E3 this week. So had a lot of fun with that. Well, let's get right into the fan mail. I know we had a few things. LB, I know you called one right out of the gate.
I did. I'm very excited to read this one.
Fantastic.
Back again is the Wolf with his awesome email header. It looks great. And the Wolf's Thoughts on Failure, episode 2. Good evening, Wrestling Mayhem crew. The greatest black guy to ever email the WMS is here. You guys know the drill. But before we go any further, I'm going to respond to the crew's questions about my status. First of all, I'm a black man from the Empire State of New York. Fuck you, Jay-Z. That song sucks ass. Second of all, you guys are funny as shizzle. Now,
Thank you.
Now, on to my black rant.
My city.
I actually liked TNA last week. Sting's Rampage, Lethal's impersonation, Hernandez's return, Dudley's segment, Angel vs. Red. But what the fuck, Wolf? How you gonna say you enjoyed WRC, Wrestling's Retirement Center, when your girlfriend ranted the hell out of it? How you gonna let a woman who never liked WCW rant more on TNA than you? Damn, I need to step my game up.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay, fuck that nice piece of bullshit. The main event was AJ Styles, Beer Money, and Desmond Wolf versus Abyss, Hardy, Anderson, and Lethal. What the fuck, TNA? Usually when you watch an 8-man tag, it's mostly watchable until the Spot Fest, which is the best part. But no, not TNA. They created what can only be described as a clusterfuck. Yes, a clusterfuck. I admit, as we were watching the show, my girlfriend would say, "Ooh, they're gonna fuck up, you just watch." Fuck you, TNA. Not for just creating a clusterfuck, but letting that woman be right. No.
His girlfriend sounds
black
awesome.
women being right is kryptonite to an N-word.
Ninja.
To a ninja. I forgot, yeah. Black women being right is kryptonite to a ninja.
You should just
By the
read
way,
that
I think
ninja from
everyone
now on.
enjoyed watching Sting beat the Christianity into Jeff Jarrett. That is awesome.
Well, before you continue, can we make an early nominee for Fan of the Week?
Yeah, it's the way we don't do that with any regularity, but I'm with you.
Christianity into Jeff Jarrett.
All I can say is we gotta get this guy on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, if he's from anywhere near my city, I will bring him in my little studio.
If only the stinger would cleanse the soul of Coke Hardy. What the fuck, WWE? SmackDown was good as usual, but what the fuck, WWE? Why is Doo-Doo McIntyre on TV? To me, McIntyre is more like the bat boy of an MLB team. No one gives a shit about him. By the way, what the fuck, WWE? Why you got Doo-Doo Mac talking down to a fellow brother? How come all the GMs? How come all the GMs? Why does Vince always treat the SmackDown GMs like shit? By the way, is it just me, or does Teddy look like a fuse between Milk Duds and George Jefferson?
Oh man.
This guy. Wow.
Psycho Kane was awesome. I say this every week, have Kane whoop someone's ass. By the way, I agree with you guys. I would love for the NXT gang to have taken out the Phenom or his own brother Kane. Raw's intro was spectacular. The NXT crew are on a hot streak and I gotta do it. What the fuck? Vince. So Bryan Danielson helped make last week's invasion look super real. And you fired him? Lots of exclamation points. Did you know how many used to be WWE fans asked me if it was real the day afterwards? You and the slippery pieces of shit got rid of the American Dragon. If this is stage, that is... Whoa. If this is staged, that genius WWE, but if it's real, fuck that idea. The Fatal 4-Way with the Black US champion, even though he lost it to Miz. I guess I pissed off Jim Crow McMahon by wishing to break the Black World Champion with a credible title reign.
This is the most...
This is like the bastard son of Mac and Juggalo Jamie.
I know I shouldn't say this, but every time I see Virgil, I laugh out loud. That segment was hilarious as shit. Oh, God. That segment was hilarious as shit, even though the house Negro didn't speak. Let's cut to the chase and say the rest of the night was great compared to the dull BS that usually engulfs Raw. Shouts to Mad Mike Metallic, Sorgatron the Dawn, a pimp named Lunchbox, and the Fetus WrestleFan. P.S. Did anyone hear updates on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 or the new WWE All-Stars game?
You know, actually, I had this earmarked for later in the show, but we can go ahead and go into a little bit here.
WWE All-Stars is starring the Maximum Sweat action figures.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think I said this is if you envisioned all of the characters, they featured John Cena versus The Rock in the footage that you'll find online. But if you have to see the footage to see how this plays. It's going to more of the arcadey thing like the original SmackDown games, like for the PS1. Imagine if you turned all of the wrestlers into the Incredible Hulk. Okay. All right, with small heads and all this stuff like going on. And then they were all fantastically in the X Division, despite their size. And
It's
you have
like Def Jam Vendetta.
WWE All-Stars. No, I don't know about that. Well, you talking about the first one that was actual wrestling game?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay. I guess I can buy that. But
It's like Def Jam Vendetta with Maximum Sweat action figures.
There you go. But yeah, then there's that, and then there's I was kind of astonished again going to the hypocrisy that is WWE. Raw versus SmackDown for the next year. The footage they featured was a lot of hardcore match stuff like tables and ladders.
Yeah.
The big point is when you hit a table, depending on where you hit it, it'll break different. Like maybe the legs will just sweep out, or it won't just break down the center like they always used to.
You still break really weird though.
Yeah, you can pick somebody up and then kind of move where you're going to slam them. So they're giving a lot more control to the actions other than just pulling off the moves. It looks like. So and now I've skipped several years of this. My rule has been every other year. I'm back on 2008. This looks like like even 2010 didn't look like enough for me to upgrade to me. Okay.
Really?
But really. What was now again, I did not see or play any of the story mode. I understand that was supposed to be pretty fantastic in that one. The last 2 years.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything different than 09.
No,
they
it
had the
isn't.
WrestleManias.
It isn't.
The big push for 2010 was supposed to be tag teams, tag team tandem wrestling.
Yeah, because they had DX
They
on the
did
cover.
add a
And
lot more
The
double
finishing
moves.
creator.
So I mean that's fine. It's gonna, and it's gonna upgrade every year. So why not just wait a couple years? It's like okay, because the roster doesn't swap up as much as it used to,
right
back in the day. So what's the big deal? I mean, I still pull out 2008 every once in a while, and I don't feel outdated doing it until I try to go online and nobody's really there.
I just wish for the rosters on the wrestling games, like, if you can't recreate every single pay-per-view from the year before, then you need to fix the roster.
Then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good sign. But also consider how much of that is from people that have contractually, left in that period.
Right.
Yeah, but they still own the licenses to them.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Jeff Hardy was in 010.
Yeah.
So was JBL, and JBL
but
has been retired for a while.
It depends on the kind of the cutoff for inserting the characters.
The relationship too, on what terms they left.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeff Hardy left on good terms. There was no real indication of him going to TNA. I think that really was a genuine surprise for a lot of people. So as opposed to Umaga got fired for the drug stuff, the wellness policy, and we're not going to support his vision, being in the game at all. So I think there's a lot of difference.
Right. He was in the game last year, though, Sorg.
What's that?
He was in the game last year.
The 2010 one?
I think so, yeah.
Umaga
That's because that was before, it all went to hell.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
true. That's true. I mean, you're not going to see him in 2011, that's for sure.
Yeah, like Sorg said, there's got to be a cutoff period.
We
where
probably won't see Carlito in 2011. I can almost guarantee that.
That too. So, any dibs for? I did want to pull up here. He did have an image attached, and I did get it prepared here. There we go.
God,
what does that say there for the people that can't read it?
The Bible. It says you need to get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
There we go. That goes.
The funny thing is, the guy in the picture looks a little bit like one of my pastors.
Let me look at that again. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A little bit. Anyways, moving on. There's another email. Holy shit.
I think WrestleFan should read it.
WrestleFan, do you want this one?
You can take over. I don't have it up.
Oh, no problem. Let me just.
I've got it. I can do it if you want.
No, you already did one. Come on. This is an equal opportunity Mayhem show.
Sit back and relax.
There you go. Oh, happy days from one Big Freaky, who we might hear a little bit more from. So the Chikara AIW double shot so close at hand. I thought I'd bring up AIW. Here's the latest Intense TV. We'll probably link these on the site if somebody remind me. And he also has Black Bald posted another promo. So there's some stuff for Chikara and AIW. So what matches are you guys excited about? How can Tyler Black versus Chuck Taylor not be all kinds of awesome? I'm calling it now. Hobo Joe is the mystery man and will turn on Greg Irons. I think John Thorne and Alpha Beta Duke versus Black Bald will be an entertaining brawl. I was thinking about how I'm preparing for the show. I'm making signs, thinking up chants, and there may be streamers involved. Really? At AIW? That doesn't... At AIW? I think they'll just get mad. Keep an eye out, he says, for the next Intense TV, which is AIW's kind of online television thing. Like it's a 40-minute thing that they started putting together.
Which I actually did watch a bit this week. They've added a lot more new stuff like matches and stuff like that.
Awesome. Because anytime I've seen their Intense TV, it's been like 10 to 15 minutes of just promos, which it's great, but it's just kind of like draws on for a while. Especially if you're somebody that's trying to be introduced to it, you want to see kind of what the wrestling is.
Yeah.
Brevity should have an interesting insight in AIW after refereeing for them before. Last year, I watched every pay-per-view and skipped Impact. Now I'm watching every Impact and skipping pay-per-views. You touched last week on how TNA uses every little thing they do, no matter how little sense it may make. The thing is, in the context of TNA, it works. For example, Homicide versus Brian Kendrick. I loved the promo, by the way. They talked about how Homicide cost Brian the X Division title shot at Lockdown, and Kendrick cost Homicide the Battle Royal 2 weeks before. Not only was I happy to see so many X Division guys on TV, how they used them made sense. Or am I just beaten down by Russo's booking? He says he loved Red and Kurt Angle's match. I actually did not get through Impact this week due to scheduling.
But yeah, it's definitely a really good match.
I heard it was a really good match.
Red and Kurt Angle had a good match.
Seeing Angle put over Red gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Why wouldn't Angle prepare for a former X Division champion by taking on a pioneer of the X Division? I enjoy the Lethal Flair feud immensely. I always knew he was talented, but who knew Jay Lethal was that entertaining? Dude, I'm glad to see Jay Lethal as Jay Lethal again. You know, not that, you know, the Black Machismo thing was fun, but he was there. He was in that phase way too long. I'm glad to see they're giving him the ball to beat Jay Lethal and roll with it. And I thought he had a great match with AJ Styles, by the way, at the pay-per-view. So. And
he still does a really good Ric Flair, which
yes, he does.
Is fine for promos and whatnot, but he's not wrestling like Flair. He's wrestling.
No. I'm glad he's not like.
Right. Though he does use the finger four a lot.
Yeah. You know, he's not going out there like Black Flair or something. You know. He's not
Black Flair.
I don't know. I'm trying to like figure out like Black Machismo. What would they do with the Ric Flair? You know it just goes downhill from there. So on a side note, am I the only one who likes OJ Rob Terry's feud? Yes. I think the important thing to remember is that OJ is going to teach Terry how to work. Judging by the reaction of passersby at the restaurant I watch TNA Wrestling at, he's one of the young guns they never need to groom. TNA was big guys before people flip out when they see Rob Terry. One thing I don't understand is this. If you're releasing a DVD of the Motor City Machine Guns Graves matches, shouldn't you have them on the show? Even if it's just for commentary or promos? Now, WrestleFan, you mentioned this. They actually got cut out from the show for length.
Whew, boy.
And it's a shame because it was magnificent.
They got cut out. They haven't been on the show for like 2 months now. And now that's their gimmick.
Oh no, that's been their gimmick for the past 6 months, that they haven't been able to get TV time.
Yeah, but did you see I know I sent the video to Sorg, but they cut out the Knockouts match from Impact. It was a tag match, Rosie and Roxy against the Beautiful People. And the Motor City Machine Guns were on commentary. And they came out with signs, and Chris Sabin was holding a sign that says, "I can't believe I had to do this to get on TV." It's stupid, because they've been the #1 contenders for how long now?
Well, all right. To be fair, I watched the whole thing. They've only been #1 contenders since Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Since Sacrifice.
Last pay-per-view.
But they hadn't been on TV since then. And when they did commentary, I think they might have been kept off TV because Alex Shelley had a cold. I don't know. It was very audibly...
If you're sick for 2 days, there goes the tapings.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking happened. Because you could tell Alex Shelley did not sound good. He sounded like Stevie Richards.
Right.
Oh. And he's had throat surgery.
No, I think he actually took it, because he was on commentary, he actually took a jab at Stevie Richards.
Oh, he did? Well, that's what they said.
Yeah.
I think Taz said he sounded like Stevie Richards.
Mm-hmm.
But their whole thing on commentary was that since they hadn't heard anything from TNA management, they were assuming that they were the #1 contenders to the Knockouts tag titles.
Which was really funny.
And they were there to scout the competition. So it was pretty hilarious because they were talking strategy as to how they would take down the Beautiful People. And I believe Shelley said he'd go for a lot of Hurricane Ranas.
And a lot of stalling power bombs.
Yes, stalling power bombs. Which, to be honest, that'd be my strategy too.
But my thing is, like, they won the #1 contenders at Sacrifice, and they also won it at Destination X, and they won it, a couple times before then.
But they had their match after Destination X.
Yeah, but that was shitty.
Well, yes. They're never going to get the tag titles. I think we all need to accept that. But because they're a really good tag team, they're always going to be the #1 contenders.
So they're always going to be there to make the tag champions look really good.
Which, according to the TNA orbs this week, is going to be really interesting to see how that works out.
Oh my god!
Remember when Crime Time was the #1 contenders forever, and they actually had to get fired and rehired to cash in?
It made sense that they sold it.
Talent. Brooklyn, 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 Brooklyn.
Anyways, I never finished this email. Holy crap. TNA has big guys. Okay. Okay, read that. I close with just one comment about NXT. Low-key will be jobbing to Titus O'Neil and Eli Cottonwood and will be the greatest matches of their lives. Sorry, Lunchbox. Blessed be Mayhem Nation, Big Freaky. Side note, Tyrone didn't use the rag in the indie shows I saw him at, and it is an urban thing. So we'll refer to the wolf for that one. To see,
why is that, Sorg?
I don't know. I just get the feeling he's going to be the expert after those emails. Which fantastic. But all you guys, keep these coming in. They've been damn entertaining. If we're entertained, we hope you guys are too. Just to make sure nothing slipped under my radar. I understand we got a last minute voicemail. Did anybody get a chance to take a look at that?
I skimmed it.
Is there anything to toss up?
It's a lot like in the email talking about AIW and various stuff going on.
And the AIW and the Chikara shows are next weekend. So we'll look over those and see if we can peg them for next week. So Big Freaky, we are not forgetting you.
You need to get them a bit earlier, though, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I imagine
a little bit earlier.
I imagine he expected this not to go through, so a little bit. But that's fine. Please, 412-206-WMS0 if you want to send in your fan mails, your voicemails, goodtimesatwrestlingmayhemshow.com. We're trying something. We're hoping to try something different here in a little bit. We want to mix things up a little bit. Actually, more than anything, we want this to be a full Brady Bunch right here, okay? we need a fourth.
Join our family.
It's more a visual aesthetic than anything else. But anyway,
preferably someone named Alice for right in the middle.
There you go. If your name is Alice, or no, we're already talking to one person who's a regular in the chat room that we hear a lot from. And this is we might open this up a little bit. We have the ability to call people on the phone. Let's give it a shot, to get a few more voices in here, because this is about wrestling fans and everything, and get your opinions about stuff. Not just these three yahoos over here, right there from across the country. So, also, I want to point out another thing that I realized during the last recording before this show. Now this makes sense for us to do the Skype thing. We got a representative from Texas, New York City, LB's from the other end of Pittsburgh. Yet in the last show, everybody was from pretty much Pittsburgh urban area. And all Skyped in. I just wanted to point that out. I thought it was an interesting side note. So I guess that brings us to WrestleFan and the Indie Minute. So let us know what's going on in the indie world. Of course, that everybody can check out wherever they are. Now, I want to point out, WrestleFan talks about indie wrestling in our neck of the woods. He's in Texas.
Yeah.
He's
That's
in
probably
Texas.
because we don't get any indie wrestling.
And loves the indie wrestling here. So, I mean, we want to, let people know about indie wrestling. We want to know about indie wrestling around the world. It's hard for us to follow it. If there's somebody around you that you think we should be checking out and talking about and trying to follow, it's not so much for you guys to come out to the shows. There's most of these guys, we try to stay away from the people that don't sell DVDs on a regular basis, because there's no point for you guys to even know about them, to be completely honest. There's you're not going to see them. There's no option. You're not going to see them on YouTube, even if they don't have a camera available, So what's the point?
Although you should try and come out to the show.
Exactly. Please support indie wrestling regardless, but I'm just saying, for this case and purpose, for being an internationally renowned show, we talk about people that have Region Zero DVDs in the most part, so everybody can check them out, except for you PAL.
We are the first ever Galacticast.
Except for you PAL motherfuckers in Europe. So WrestleFan, what is going on out there that we should know about?
Well, one of the big things to look forward to is in one of the top indie promotions in the country, Ring of Honor. They're having their next internet pay-per-view this coming week on June 19th from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So you fans from across the border definitely can get a treat in watching some ROH. The bell time is 7:30. It's over at the Ted Reeve Arena at Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You can still order your tickets now on Ring of Honor Wrestling, or I should say ROHWrestling.com. Big main event for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship when Tyler Black makes another defense against Davey Richards in what's being a really, really big hyped match for ROH. Also, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles will be on the line. The Kings of Wrestling, Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli, versus Jay and Mark Briscoe, which, for those that keep up with the Ring of Honor video wire, the match has now been made a no disqualification match after some issues that the two teams have had over recent weeks. Speaking of issues, the grudge match months in the making, Kevin Steen going one-on-one with El Generico, former partners colliding in what's sure to be a really great bout. In a Pick 6 Contender Series match, number 2 in the Pick 6, Christopher Daniels will be taking on Kenny Omega from the Toronto, Ontario area. Another grudge match will be Austin Aries going one-on-one with Delirious with Kenny King and Rhett Titus barred from ringside. And we posted earlier on WrestlingMayhemShow.com, very interesting way that they're continuing this Austin Aries Delirious feud, a very interesting, I should say, promo from Delirious.
Yes, the Thirst for Revenge promo that was up there. The least I've seen Delirious talk since I've been following him as a wrestler. Go check that out. There's not really much to show here, especially for the audio listeners.
Right.
Again, we're working on trying to get the video feeds and maybe do a video of the week kind of thing. But yeah, go check that out for sure. And the pay-per-view, of course, is on GoFightLive.tv. I believe is the site. It's hard. It's not.
I'm not
easy.
sure what the pricing is exactly, but I think it's a pretty good deal.
It's $14.95, so half what you're going to be paying for anybody else, and less than half than what you'll pay for anybody else. If you're worried about your technology that you have available, there is a test on there for the video feed. If you're happy with how that video plays, then you're going to be happy with the quality the night of the pay-per-view.
Right.
It's an interesting experiment for them to kind of bypass the pay-per-view companies in this regard. There's been a lot of talk. Maybe the pay-per-view companies, maybe the wrestling should get away from it. We might bring up a little bit more later, but I
think either way, it's a real good just way to get themselves out there.
If you're novel enough to have HDNet to be checking these guys out, then you might be more willing to take the jump to try out an internet pay-per-view. So so go check that out. The site, it's hard to find them because there's a lot of boxing stuff. Just look for Death Before Dishonor. I think it's 8, isn't it? I don't know, lots of Roman numerals. So go in there, go check it out, check out the details, and check it out. I think it'll be on DVD later, otherwise. But support those guys. They're coming up, and we need a third one that's not Wrestlelicious. Let's be honest.
You people don't give Wrestlelicious a chance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We give Wrestlelicious a lot.
Have you watched it? I've watched it.
Not recently.
I've seen every episode.
It's not bad.
You like them on Facebook, don't you?
Yes, I do, actually. If you don't watch the segments, if you just fast forward to the match like I do, there are some good matches there.
I'll get through the entire season in 20 minutes.
The gimmicks are actually very interesting. And a lot of them remind me of the gimmicks I grew up with in the early 90s. The ones that are really over the top. They work with their gimmicks, and they really make it
Mad Mike tells us about the cultural influence of Wrestlelicious. I'm glad that we have your point of view.
So when were there lunch ladies in the 90s?
There's lunch ladies?
Women wrestling. There are hot women wrestling each other. You can see Madison Rain versus Daphne.
That you won't get to see in TNA.
Exactly,
at this point.
Because they don't put Daphne on TV.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a damn shame. Anything else going on, WrestleFan?
Tax touch. We'll move on from ROH now to Chikara. One thing to look into eventually is one of Chikara's biggest shows that they have every year, the Young Lions Cup.
Just got announced, I believe.
Yeah, to determine they determine a new Young Lions Cup champion every year, kind of like a Super Indie.
Okay. Okay.
2 participants have already been announced out of the, I believe, 26 men that are going to be in this tournament.
Jeez.
5 from Chikara, 1 from the Bruderschafters Crisis, which is the main heel faction in Chikara, and then the rest are indie talents from all over the United States, all over various countries. The first 2 to be announced so far is from the Colony, Green Ant, the youngest member of the Chikara roster, and the biggest, the one with the least experience, hoping to get something big in this tournament. And representing the Bruderschafters Crisis, Lindsay Dorado, who will be looking to gain the cut for the first time. So definitely, if you want to look into that, I believe the dates are August 27th, 28th, 29th, all in Reading, Pennsylvania. You can actually order your tickets now, I believe, at chikarapro.com. Definitely a good weekend of shows to watch out for. And also in Chikara news, just posted not too long ago a big match for their show on July 25th, Chikarasaurus Rex King of Show in Philadelphia at the former ECW Arena. One of the bigger storylines that has happened in Chikara is the tandem of Daisy Hayes and Sarah Del Rey looking for better competition, I should say, in the ranks of Chikara, going to the point of taking on the men of the Chikara roster.
There's not a lot of women there.
No, there isn't. Daisy and Sarah were pretty much only the real mainstays in Chikara as far as the women's go, but now they have they don't, it's not gender specific. As you can see, men can wrestle the women. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely an interesting point, but they won't have to wrestle men come Chikarasaurus Rex, because they have 2 women very big to be in the scene that were announced recently. The team of Raisha Saeed and Lunchbox's favorite, Awesome Kong.
He's got the thumbs up there in the corner.
That's awesome. That's
so yeah.
Sweet bonbon.
So yeah, Daisy Hayes and Sarah Del Rey versus Raisha Saeed and Awesome Kong, July 25th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for Chikara. Definitely a show to check out for those. Go to chikarapro.com for more information. And another thing I wanted to bring up real quick on the Indie Minute, a question for you guys. The promotion Evolve Wrestling, based out of New Jersey, run by former Ring of Honor writer Gabe Sapolsky. Mm-hmm. One of the things they announced on their website is that over the whole baseball scandal going on, they are thinking of instituting an instant replay system for their events.
For an indie show?
I'm sorry?
For an indie show, they're announcing they're looking into instant replay.
It could be something interesting. I mean, it's from the way it's sounding, it's going to be a lot like anytime there's a call up in the air or something that the referee doesn't see and a wrestler alerts him to it, he's allowed to go to the back and watch the actual tape and see what happened.
Yeah. So I saw this article last week. We didn't get to it because of all the craziness last week. But yeah, it and I know the note on it was looks like somebody's trying to kick get in the headlines over the baseball scandal over that perfect game call. They did the same thing in the 90s. It never went anywhere. Like, could you imagine if they did that? That kills half of your heel storylines.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but if you watch tape of indie shows, you really don't want instant replay of a lot of the stuff. Because, I mean, you see pins where shoulders aren't down even when they're supposed to be.
Right. And that's in wrestling in general.
It's bad enough. It's bad enough we have a rewind button.
But I think Evolve has shown from their short tenure in the indie world that they want to make their promotion more of a sport rather than a professional wrestling indie company. They have their ranking system. They have various other things to make it seem more of an athletic competition rather than an actual indie show.
Mm-hmm. But it's not.
Well, yeah, it's not.
Oh, yeah, and giant ants and aliens aren't actually wrestling in Chikara. So, you know, what's the difference?
I haven't seen any aliens. I haven't seen any
I saw a
aliens.
giant turtle.
There's a giant turtle and a
Saw
giant dragon.
I saw a snake. I saw 3 ants. I saw some sort of like polar rhino horn thing.
Silent
What?
Ninja. Silent Ninja is a Yeti.
Ah, okay.
Tursus.
Tursus, yes.
I saw a lot of crazy shit. I saw a Harlem Globetrotter in Philly.
Yes, King of
They
Trios.
don't leave Harlem.
King of Trios. What? King of Trios was like a bad acid trip for a lot of us.
They try and leave Harlem. It's like an invisible force field for dogs. They get shocked.
Actually, it should be a good acid trip.
All right, is that all for the indie stuff, WrestleFan?
That is all I have for
excellent.
indie news this week.
Then we'll toss over to LB there at the bottom. Ready
Yes,
to go. What are we listening to for our musical break today, sir?
Oh well, sir. I was in the mood for a little bit more electro nonsense, and this is a group that we've played here on the Wrestling Mayhem show before. Blip Blip Blip. I'm sorry, Blip Blip Bleep. The name of the song is Anime Eyes off of their album Wireless. Blip Blip Bleep. Anime Eyes. A Wrestling Mayhem.
Dancing to the music. soon-to-be Pulitzer Prize award-winning author and agent to the stars, the pop superstar crossover mainstream media sensation GQ Money, and I listen to the Wrestling Mayhem.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the one, the only...
It's the men of the Wrestling Mayhem Show at WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's the WrestleMania. What the hell?
WrestleMania?
It's the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
All right, we'll try that again.
We're renaming the show for some legal troubles.
Yes. Yes, that's so they don't send the letter to the right place from last week. It's Wrestling Mayhem Show 223. We are back. That was some great music, LB. Thanks for the pick. Bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop, blop, bloop, blop. Go check them out. But right now, before we get into everything and get our discussion for the rest of the wrestling for this week, please check out Audible, audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media is where you can get your free trial, 14 days, one free audiobook for you to keep, lots of free stuff for you to listen to, and go check it out, and it will help out the show if you participate in that offer right there. It's a great service. Plenty of us here on the show listen to a lot of audiobooks because we hate words. One such person is, to prove how cultured he really is Mad Mike. You have a pick for this week. I'm just curious, what you've been audibly
Sorg,
listening to?
You see, Sorg, I hate words.
Yeah.
But I love America.
Yes.
and because I love America, I download perhaps the greatest audiobook of the greatest American of all time. And that, of course, is Stephen Colbert.
Of course.
Stephen Colbert's I Am America and So Can You is the life story of Stephen Colbert, from his earliest memories to his looks into the future and his recommendations for you on how to be Stephen Colbert. And it's changed my life. It really has. And he even has voices from the people who he really speaks to all throughout his audiobook. And it really teaches you a great way to live. And it's funny as hell.
Excellent. So Stephen Colbert, I Am America, and So Can You. Now, LB, you have some experience with this book as well. Is it as life-changing?
Absolutely. I was a different person. I was actually born a poor black child, and I led most of my life that way until I picked up my copy of Stephen Colbert's I Am America and So Can You, and here I am hosting a podcast today. It truly is amazing. If you're a fan of the show, fan of Stephen Colbert, go and pick it up. It's amazing.
I only know that LB is black because he's told me so, because I don't see color.
Of course, and nobody does here on the Wrestling Mayhem Show, nor sizes or genders. So it makes it really confusing for those of us that are still in the dating scene.
Oh no, I see genders.
Oh yeah.
Trust me, when you're in New York City, you have to make sure you see genders.
Oh, I see. It's more of a residential hazard. So please check that out. audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media. So let's get right into the wrestling news and stuff this week. There was a pay-per-view. Believe it or not, there was a pay-per-view this weekend. TNA Slammiversary. We can now go on and on about how TNA has made it 8 full years.
Yay.
In this industry. And there's changes coming, and there was a surprise. And what was that surprise?
TNA has a dream.
They have a dream.
A 43-year-old dream.
That's right. That's right. But people were pretty excited about that.
From the way it looks in the spoilers, I don't mind Tommy Dreamer being there.
No. Now, Tommy Dreamer, as I mentioned, has had a habit of just walking into promotions lately. He just kind of strolled into Chikara, had a match with Eddie Kingston, and now strolled right back out and right into Universal Studios. So,
which is weird because he still has a match in Chikara scheduled in July.
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn?
Yep. No, it's in Philly.
Oh, it's in Philly? I thought it was in the Brooklyn.
Philly, Brooklyn, what's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Cheesesteaks.
And filth. Lots of filth.
Hey, Brooklyn is beautiful.
I'm talking about Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Brooklyn is gorgeous.
So
That's why Crime Time's right.
I'm glad that the wrestling industry could give as an 8-year present Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer.
So, well, I guess this kind of leads to maybe they will be having the ECW kind of faction thing that we've been speculating for a while.
And according to TNA Orbs, the leader of the Extreme faction. Ooh, I'm excited.
You know what? Now, WrestleFan, you let me know about some of the orbs. I think it's worth talking about this week. There is a lot going on as far as that stuff, and keep updated. I know they're recording probably right now up there in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, the big thing from the orbs, TNA fixed the problem that they set 2 years ago.
Yeah,
No, they didn't. No, they fucking didn't, WrestleFan. I tried to tell you this on Facebook. You don't believe me. All right. Well, you say how they fixed the problem, and then I'll tell you how they didn't.
Well, from the way the TNA orbs read, Abyss has gone back to being his, old crazy hardcore, the monster Abyss, and not being the, Hulk Hogan wannabe that, he's been for the last 8 months and being a little, I don't know. Face Abyss was never a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they finally remedied it. And Mad Mike, you are acting like a 5-year-old.
That's because you were speaking like a 5-year-old. WrestleFan, at the pay-per-view, Abyss, this supposed hardcore monster, gave Chelsea a teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wrapped in barbed wire.
What TNA is doing is they're combining George the Animal Steel and Mick Foley.
Mm.
Because Abyss has not gotten any smarter. Abyss will still have on the Hulk Hogan ring, will still come out to the American-made theme song, have red and yellow in his tights.
That's not going to last.
That's not how it's looking.
It's not going to last.
Want to bet?
You might
this
see
is
it.
TNA we're talking about.
I mean, maybe for the next 2 weeks, but I can't see that lasting too long if they go this direction with it. Now,
Sorg, he's been doing stuff like this for a couple weeks now, and it still didn't change anything.
Has he? Well, again, I didn't see Impact last week.
Not really.
Cut in the arm with a huge shard of glass.
And he still act like a stupid baby face about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's why I'm telling you, it's not going to change anything, especially because Chelsea is going to be joining him.
No, oh God.
Yes, she will be.
That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I originally thought was going to happen, because everything's pointing to it. The whole Chelsea thing is not that she's joining Abyss. She's going to distance herself more from Desmond Wolfe.
No, she's going to join Abyss. She tossed Abyss brass knuckles at the pay-per-view.
Was that because she liked Abyss, or was that because she hated Desmond?
That's because Abyss gave her a teddy bear. You're an infant. Have you ever seen Beauty and the Beast?
But it's also because Desmond screamed at her and tried to,
WrestleFan. It's because she feels bad that Desmond has tried to be so mean to Abyss. He cut Abyss's arm with a giant glass shard.
We don't even know what Chelsea feels like because she never has any expression on her face. She's going to acting school.
Yes.
Right, well, that is fair and accurate. But, WrestleFan, it's Beauty and the Beast syndrome. Desmond Wolfe is Gaston, Abyss is the Beast, and eventually, Mrs. Potts going to come in, that's probably Eric Bischoff, and it's going to turn Abyss into a full-fledged real boy.
I disagree. We'll see what happens.
Okay,
and I disagree.
We will see what happens.
Sorg, I'm having some weird flashbacks to when we just started this show.
What?
The Beast.
What?
The feud Disney kid.
Yeah. Are you saying WrestleFan is the Disney kid?
I'm the Disney kid?
No. No, never mind.
No, but TNA, but then also...
the kid.
All right.
Also, from the TNA pay-per-view, a lot of people are angry, both inside TNA and outside with their fans, about the women's match that happened at Slammiversary.
About Roxy had turned into a career match, and Roxy lost.
Because apparently what the story is saying is that Roxy was literally told the day before the pay-per-view that she was leaving.
Wow, that's a kind of an unceremonious.
And you could obviously see through the match that she was upset about it. So,
which is a shame because they just brought her back after she was rehabbing through injuries and everything.
Right. And I think just because she's not going to be in she doesn't have to be in the main event scene, going for the knockout title all the time for TNA to use her.
This is a further deconstruction of the knockout scene there, because I mean, ODB. When's the last time? Last time you seen her? And now she quit the company as of.
Yeah, she quit the company. TNA didn't. From what I hear, TNA didn't release her.
Yeah, and she's been vocal in the past about how she hasn't been happy with how they've been used. Taylor Wilde was another one that's mentioned in the past. She's still there, currently.
Right.
But we'll see how long that lasts the way it's going. But it's a shame they're cleaning out such a division that's been good. I can only hope WWE picks up a few of these girls.
I would, yeah. WWE needs to really hop on this and
because
some
I
of these
think
girls
would
out.
do really well in WWE.
Yeah,
she would.
Roxy would do amazingly well in WWE.
Especially since everybody has a ripoff of the Beautiful People to be going up against. So.
Yeah. And, I mean, obvious, because one of the big things also from that women's match at the pay-per-view was, because Madison nailed it with the microphone, and Roxy was bleeding like a stunt pig during that match.
And this is what I think TNA is doing right. What you do to beat the competition is to provide something that they're not providing, or provide something better than they are. There are people. How many of us are complaining about no blood in WWE, no certain kinds of violence in WWE? And guess what? If we switch to Thursday nights on Spike, we're seeing all of that stuff in spades. Not to the disgusting nature that it might have been in like some of the other hardcore feds, or even as bad as ECW got or anything, but enough on TV. I mean, they're not afraid. Like women are bleeding from the head. There's thumbtacks, there's glass, there's people getting cut, there's crazy stuff going on. There's more mature themes than WWE is pulling off lately. For sure. So, I mean, that's someplace for people to go. And let's be honest, the people that are going for that reason are not concerned on whether these storylines make sense, okay? They're just following along and going for the ride, and that's all wrestling, that's the point,
But Sorg, violence for the sake of violence on wrestling, if you have too much of it, it just desensitizes it and it makes
But
it
you know what? We haven't had any.
And it just endangers your performers.
But that fact aside, but we haven't seen it for how many years? How many? When's the last time we've had?
Dude, it hasn't been that long.
But
people are acting like the Attitude Era was fucking eons ago when you had Frank Gotch and Lou Thesz wrestling 3-hour Iron Man matches. It's been maybe 3 years since we've had a really, really insane bloody match in WWE.
That's a long time in wrestling.
Dude, actually, it hasn't even been 3 years. It's been 2 years. Because I looked up, because of a story we'll get to later, the ending of the Royal Rumble 2008 with Chris Jericho and JBL.
Okay.
Chris Jericho was bloody as shit, and he was hanging JBL from inside the ring. We act like this is so fucking long ago, but maybe we should be thanking WWE for actually making sure that these performers aren't getting blasted in the head all the time, aren't losing buckets of blood, and
That's true.
actually continue to perform for years upon years and keep entertaining us, so we don't have another fucking idiot like Umaga abusing pain pills.
That's true, but when it comes to the point where someone actually bleeds hard away and they have to get the officials in there and it hinders the actual match, then,
But then you have someone like CM Punk who can immediately, as soon as the cut's been closed up, bring the crowd right back into it.
True. And that is true.
All you need to do is give instruction on how to do that in case something happens. And CM Punk is a perfect example of how that happened.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I missed half of that. I got a headphone
Wait,
problem.
did you just say WWE should give give instruction on how to act properly in the ring?
Well, no. If there needs to
When
be...
have they ever done that ever?
I'm saying if there needs to be a stoppage in the contest because someone got cut.
Say someone bleeds hard way, and they have that time where the doctors are stitching them up or whatever.
I mean,
I don't know. I stand by my theory that all this shit's gonna end as soon as Linda McMahon gets out of politics.
I hope so.
I don't think so. They just tried to run over John Cena with a car.
You mean Bret Hart?
Did that. No, John Cena. 2 months ago, Batista tried to hit him with a car.
That is true. That is true.
And just
at the pay-per-view. That was at the pay-per-view at the I Quit match.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
And just last year, Randy Orton tried to blow him up with pyro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but John Cena is indestructible. Nothing's gonna happen to him.
We've all seen the Marine. We know that he's not flammable. Nobody was worried. But that's a good point. That's
he's
a good
the
point.
Terminator.
So,
Remember when they threw him through that?
Sorry, LB, you were cutting a little bit.
Remember when they threw him through that light?
Yeah, for the searchlight.
50,000 watt searchlight.
That was
he didn't even convulse or anything.
So apparently, while violence has
do insane violence without having blood.
And so as opposed to insane violence, hardcore style, we are okay with Wile E. Coyote tactics in wrestling matches.
Yes.
So when the Acme anvil falls on Big Show's head, let's switch the direction. It's a philosophy on who they're trying to cater to, and you're going to see the audience go where they want to go. Now I'm big on supporting like the headshots. Come on, guys, the headshots. We don't want to see those. Well, yeah, some people want to see them, but
some people do. But a lot of the
wrestling
as
fans,
we've seen, have protested about unprotected
as wrestling fans
shots.
that are tired of seeing the people that we watch every week and look up to dying of drug overdoses and going insane from head trauma.
Right.
Yeah, that's stupid and dumb. As far as the violent hardcore matches, any hardcore match I've seen on TNA and everything has been tremendously safer than something I've seen Madman Pondo do at an indie show. Have you seen these guys' foreheads? That's not happening anymore. Thank God. Look at even Devon is a perfect point to that. That guy's been bladed in the forehead too many times. It's been all scarred up. There's this generation of wrestlers from the late 90s that just have the mark. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things you're not going to see when they're doing these kinds of matches. You can do these over-top violent matches in a safe way. You take thumbtacks. Like, let's be honest about thumbtacks. Or we all know how they do. Kayfabe broken. We all know they're the short thumbtacks. They hurt like a bitch, but nobody's going to be losing an eye from it. Nobody's going to be going to the hospital from taking those thumbtacks. They're just enduring some pain and moving on.
And you want to prove how you can have a safe hardcore match. I thought that the Munchers Ball at the pay-per-view, besides the whole teddy bear thing, was actually not that bad.
No. Even the barbed wire, it's going to be, it's going to be, if not dollars, shorter barbed wire. Again, kind of same concept with the thumbtacks.
Yeah, not like razor wire or anything like that.
Yeah, I wish we had somebody. Maybe we'll think about somebody. I'd love to get somebody with more of a hardcore background to come in and talk to us about what do you do to make sure you're not getting hurt. You crazy bastards. What
the hell do you do to yourself?
Because obviously, you take a table, you're kind of taking a hit on the back, but if it's done right, you want to see a bad example, watch ROH this past week in a future match coming up.
But Sorg, there's always the room where something horrible can happen, like with what happened with Hardcore Holly.
There's always the idea that something horrible can happen if you take a damn body slam. If you do an arm wrench wrong, that the whole point is these guys are in there to protect each other. It's just even more important if they're around these objects. You know, the whole point of, with, anybody that's, the little bit I know about wrestling training and everything is the people helping each other out in the wrestling ring. And the more hardcore I get, the more these people should be watching out for each other, It's one thing if Rob Terry's saying, hit me full blast in the head, and hopefully he accepted that, when they decided to do that, but that's stupid on his part, and I'm hoping they told him not to.
Well, that's probably from the fact of his lack of training, that he doesn't understand the effect that it can have on him.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know anything about Rob Terry's background. I don't know if he's just some meathead that they threw in a ring, learned to suit, taught him an arm bar and he was wrestling. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know anything about his background. But yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these guys is situations like that. The thing you also
have to remember is the guys in TNA, they wrestle maybe 5-6 times a month.
Yeah,
as a group. As a group,
WWE guys wrestle 3, sometimes 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
They put their bodies through a lot more, so of course they're not going to be as open to do a lot more of the hardcore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Abyss can have 2 hardcore matches in a week and then have 3.5 weeks to rest up.
But yeah, if he's not taking indie dates, and let's be honest, a lot of these guys
you gotta factor that part in too.
I mean, these guys are some of these guys are doing a part-time schedule, so because they're making enough money from it or have enough saved up. Some of these guys are taking a part-time schedule so that they're a bigger name when they go take those indie bookings and make more money there on top of whatever TNA is getting them. Remember, some of these guys are only on a per-show basis. Some of them show up, and they're not.
Most of the knockouts are only getting paid per show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like WWE where it's a contract. Everybody's there. Everybody's a family. Everybody's on a show. A roster, and they have the chance to be buddy. These guys are still going to random indie shows in random situations against random opponents of random levels of training, so they're used to the unexpected. And it's one of those things that, you start to boggle the mind. It's like, how these guys, they're supposed to trust each other, but, what happens when you don't know the other guy, it's just an interesting concept that goes along with this occupation, I guess.
Yeah.
So, now that we've gotten philosophical about pro wrestling, thanks to TNA somehow.
Speaking of getting all deep like WrestleFan has.
No.
We're not. I don't know. Is there a ban on that?
I'm so glad you're not coming up in 2 weeks.
Speaking of coming up in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Let's see. We talked about RDB. We talked about the video games. Oh, jeez. Where Lay Cool is doing something right there in WWE. According to this article from Diva Dirt, they say that they're SmackDown's answer to the Mean Girls and said to be very popular amongst WWE management, who are pleased with how the duo's gimmick has developed, according to Wrestling Observer. This is the one thing I hate. I get my articles from a couple sources, and all of them get them from other sources. It's all recycled news. The creative
That's how
team,
the internet works.
I know. The creative team is really happy with Lay Cool because they are people mad about the idea that TNA had created with the beautiful people. I knew it! Come on! That just confirms it. And I don't.
They might have, and sorry, I know you've talked about Lay Cool in the past of the show. They may have, their inspiration may have been the beautiful people. But it doesn't mean they're not a good tandem.
No, I don't. Yeah. I gotta admit, my opinion of them is tainted by the fact that they're not the beautiful people. And I know that's and obviously that's what they were going for. But you know what? I think it's a dynamic that they needed as far as the Divas division. And they're doing a bit with it, and that's cool enough. But
between them and Maurice, it almost seems like every face can be just a generic good girl diva, and it still works because you have two sets of really strong heroes.
There's no room for the good girls. It's just like for a while you could only be in the main event if you're a heel, and not everybody wants to be a heel. So John Cena is just John Cena. There you go. Also, of course, we talked about Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson has been let go by the WWE as of looks like Saturday morning. Apparently, the reason given through the grapevine, through the internet grapevines, was, and we mentioned on the break, the anime GIF that's all on WrestlingMayhemShow.com, apparently of Daniel Bryan choking Justin Roberts, the ring announcer. Apparently that's a big no-no ever since that whole Chris Benoit situation a few years ago.
The whole Chris Jericho JBL situation.
Yes, there's... What?
How he was talking about the Royal Rumble where Chris Jericho hung JBL.
Yeah, but...
I even said, because that was the show we were at, I said, oh, look, Daniel Benoit him.
Ew. But apparently this is something that they've been they've given up on showing and told people not to because of that, and of course their violence thing. Apparently strangulation is not okay, but again, trying to get hit by a car is not Wile E.
I still
Coyote
think it's
enough.
a work.
And there's that idea. Where's that idea? We're good.
I think it's going to be like the Matt Hardy situation. Yes, he did actually get fired. Yes, he'll definitely be back.
Yeah, they'll definitely bring him back once this whole thing is over.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think this is at all work.
I still think it could be. I'm gonna give it until next Monday's Raw.
Yeah.
Until I finally can see that he actually was fired.
Maybe he shows up at the pay-per-view.
They've already given him a way to come back.
Mm-hmm.
They've already mentioned him after he's quote-unquote released.
For all we know, somebody gets messed up and he replaces somebody in a fatal four-way. It's not like we haven't seen that situation
And I'm totally
before.
joking with this, but he was probably the limo driver.
That was my question. Who was the limo driver?
He was the limo driver, but that's what I was thinking until I realized that Barrett said in the beginning how he thought Daniel Bryan was too soft.
And you'll never
Which I didn't understand.
And then he said you'll never see him again. Well, but he was reasoning that with he felt remorse after the incident. Therefore, he was too soft. Not anything that was perceived on television.
Which I don't get, because he was probably the one that did the worst of all of the stuff.
I know.
Because he choked a guy and he spit on John Cena.
Yeah. So did you guys notice? We've mentioned before, and I think somebody was listening. You know how Chris Jericho doesn't have a DVD set?
No.
Apparently he will soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cannot.
It's going to include Chris Jericho's SMW, ECW, Japan, WCW, and WWE career, all chronicled in a set due out in September.
Nice.
Yeah, that might be a purchase right there.
I hope there's a third disc that's all promos.
And somehow they got the
with
rights.
Roddy Piper and John Cena. I think they should go Jericho.
Yeah, there's just one disc dedicated to his feud with Stephanie McMahon.
And just for somehow they need to get the rights to that Delirious promo.
Yeah, put that in there.
Also, the other project they're working on, this is from Joey Styles updating his Twitter page, by the way. They're going to have a 50 Greatest Superstars of All Time DVD package. There will be voting by the fans for who's going to get featured. I guess much like I did in SmackDown. SmackDown set was like this and a couple others.
My thing is, though, haven't they done this DVD before?
Yes.
They did Stars of the 90s.
They did the Greatest Superstars of the 90s and of the 80s.
It was of the 90s and 80s. Okay, yeah. I was like, we've done this concept before.
The thing is, you got the fan voting, though. Then you're going to have a lot of the kids voting for the newer people, I think. Like,
it's all John. It's just top 50 is all John
Cena is definitely in the top 5. Let's put it that way. Triple H.
We need to get
Jeff Hardy.
The Brooklyn Brawler wins.
Yeah.
Braden Walker.
Braden Walker.
Somebody was asking about Braden Walker, I think, on Facebook a few weeks ago.
No, that's what they need to make a DVD on, the 50 worst.
Yeah, the 50
worst
characters. I think
that's something Big Freaky brought up, like the worst gimmicks or something.
Well, they did the WWE's Funniest Moments DVD a while back.
Yeah.
And it featured a lot of really, really bad gimmicks.
Yeah.
But now they have more libraries. Oh, believe me, there are some awful WCW gimmicks.
Oh, boy.
Believe you me.
Oh, the wall.
Wall. It's Wall.
The Wall.
The Yeti.
The Yeti!
I want to see a grudge match between the Yeti and Mantar.
Awesome. Let's see what else we got here.
Mantar.
Half Pint Brawlers. We mentioned.
Speaking of DVD,
yes.
Just came out.
What came out?
The Undertaker's DVD.
Yep.
Yes.
The matches.
The Undertaker's gimmickiest matches.
Yep. There you go.
Sorry, I think there's a delay.
Yeah, a little bit. I have sad stories. Do we want the sad stories?
Sad stories.
Jeff Hardy still faces all drug charges despite reports that several were dropped.
That's not a sad story.
That's a happy story.
I skipped the sad stories.
Hey, that is justice done.
You were here last week, right, Sorg?
No, but we were talking about how many. Well, no, we were reporting that a lot of them were dropped.
Yeah.
This was like the next day this came out.
It was.
Or no, it was towards the end of the show that we found out otherwise.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you made it into the next rundown. All right, here's more happy news. Sarah Del Rey booked for a TNA house show.
Yeah.
Yay.
Friend of the show.
Yay.
She is she's the JAPW women's champion. I guess she's defending her belt on that show.
Yeah, I guess it's a joint venture between that promotion and TNA in that
Which
area.
I think she's done before. I think she did a TNA house show where she wrestled Alyssa Flash, a.k.a. cheerleader Melissa.
Yeah, and I think TNA does this a little bit, kind of like how Chikara and AIW are teaming up for that Cleveland spot. TNA's first house show was actually in conjunction with Insane Clown Posse, if you remember.
Yeah.
Up in Detroit.
What was it? Insane Clown Posse and UWF, I think.
UWF, was that part of it? Which isn't UWF a Madman Pondo thing? If I'm not mistaken,
Maybe.
it used to be. So I mean, well, they got some kind of connection there with their guys. So, and in other news, Yokel Pro Wrestling fans arrested for injuring a 2-year-old girl, claims they were play wrestling with the girl and choke slammed her. There we go.
Do we even have to cover that?
Yeah, we've done this. Go look at any episode that we've talked about a story like this. We've had this rant several times.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it, and don't blame WWE for your stupidity.
What city were they from?
South Carolina.
Yeah, that's why.
Is it always from South Carolina? Really?
Watch Stephen Colbert, watch Daily Show last night, and you'll see exactly what people think of South Carolina.
Awesome. So, and I guess that is all the news for this week.
Oh, and Sorg.
Yes.
I have one thing that I found I forgot to put on Delicious.
Okay.
TNA might be planning on running a pay-per-view in New York City.
Fantastic. I think they need to be. They've been promising one for Pittsburgh as well. Now, isn't there? That kind of brings up another point. Wasn't there some rumblings about what these changes are going to be for TNA?
Yeah, one of the rumors going around is that they're going to abandon some of their smaller pay-per-views and replace them with live Spike TV events, kind of like Clash of the Champions from WCW.
Now, kind of more like, I think they're trying to adopt some of the concept with UFC that's really kind of done well for them, how they have the Fight Night Live events on Spike TV and then also their pay-per-views. Now, obviously, they need to cut down the pay-per-views because that market is definitely not working for them. I know that I don't think they're quite clear on releasing the numbers. There's been speculations, but they're just...
Yeah, they probably can cut out like 3/4 of their pay-per-views.
There's a reason most of them are from the Impact Zone, and they're still giving away free tickets. We'll put it that way. But they're still getting the ratings they need to make something on television. And kind of as a kind of comparison, remember Puppet was right here on this show last week and was excited about 0.7 for their first episode of Half Pint Brawlers. Now, keep in mind, that's 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. So, I mean, that is pretty damn good for that kind of thing if you're
Those
not
are
JLNO.
amazing ratings.
Yeah, exactly. So
it shows that people like midgets.
Of course, people love
and
midgets.
people
Whatever's
like
a proper name to call them. So
I liked midgets a lot more before the show last week.
Which is why TNA needs to have their own juniors division if they want to get ratings.
Only if they get Super Porky back.
Super Porky.
Actually, there's also going to be I heard this from an inside source. There's going to be a Lucha Libre show on MTV2 coming up soon.
Really?
Because MTV is so good with wrestling.
Yeah, as long as it's not like
believe it or
Wrestling
not,
Society
I've
X.
taken a little bit of a look at it. They have some really good wrestlers on there, and it's just going to be like American Lucha Libre type stuff.
Say they did on American
might be
Wrestling
good.
X. Yeah, what if it is like, what if it is like Gorilla Pro or something they're bringing in, Which, hey, it's another platform, so I'm glad to see.
I believe they have a 6-sided ring.
Oh,
I'm not positive on that.
So this is who they sold it to. So, all right, on that note, if there's nothing else to bring up, I think it's time for us to wrap things up. So I wanted to learn, and I'm just going block the block, and don't say you're surprised, because we know this comes every week. Russell fan!
Speaking of coming every week.
What did you learn from wrestling this week? Oh, my God.
I learned, one of the things I learned just recently, thanks to Mad Mike on Twitter, that Florence Henderson's going to be hosting Raw.
Carol Brady.
And we talk about the Brady Bunch on, having our own Brady Bunch intro.
At least someone can fill Goldust in on who Alice is now.
All right, Mad Mike, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
I learned this week that the Motor City Machine Guns need to be on commentary for every match because they are way better than Taz and Mike Tyson.
Maybe they'll have a secondary career like Matt Stryker. They combined will be the next Matt Stryker.
Well, please don't insult them like that.
Hey, I like Matt Stryker. Come on.
I have personal reasons for not enjoying Matt Stryker.
Okay.
Matt Stryker looked pissed on NXT. Might change.
Yeah, they're really pushing that. LB, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
I learned that Virgil still got it.
I was so excited to see Virgil in a match this week. Oh, man.
Are we exactly sure what it is that Virgil still has? Because
many STDs.
I was going to say, if it should be that star on his chest.
Not anymore.
Virgil is the Black Tony Stark.
Oh.
Virgil's on a pussy train. That's never derailing.
Well, I'm glad to see.
All aboard.
Well,
I'll give props to the wolf. Virgil equals house ninja.
Hey, Sorgatron, what'd you learn this week?
I learned.
Did you learn you're not an asshole?
I'm not an asshole. I don't know. This has not been disproven at this point. I don't think. Well, first I hope that Butterbean doesn't think I'm an asshole next week because he will probably hurt me. And I know he's going to be in the area, so that's a little bit more of a concern. What did I learn?
He will punch you through the phone.
Well, I think I learned a lot, exactly what I said before, regardless of the implications like we were talking about health and stuff. But I do think TNA is succeeding to bring a market that isn't served, and I think, unfortunately, I think they got a little bit diverted by this whole Monday night, business. I think it hurt them more than anything. But, hey, they're 8 years strong, and I think you can call them... they're not the best wrestling company, but I think you can call them a successful wrestling company at this point, regardless of what you think. I think they're further out of the red tape than WCW was 8 years in.
Yeah.
Presuming, I think they were around. They're definitely around 8 years before the whole NWO thing. So.
But you know what? I just kind of realized that's really interesting. How TNA, Ring of Honor, and Chikara are all going on their 8 years.
Yeah. So now we need somebody new to pop up. And
dude, WrestleFan, you realize why that is, right?
Because they all came out in 2002?
No, because in 2001 was when WCW folded.
So this was... and I think...
This is kind of like the baby boomers of heads.
Yeah.
Good point, yeah.
Everybody popped out in the absence of real competition with ECW and WCW dying. So...
what they need to bring back? Wrestle Society X.
I hate to say it, but if Chikara, TNA, and ROH could kind of form a new NWA, that would be actual competition.
See, I think you're going to have a problem with that because they, TNA has their own financial backers. I'm sure ROH has their own financial backers. Not to mention they're probably officially backed by HDNet in some capacity. So
everyone in Chikara would just be in the X division.
Yeah, and there's that. I think. It's same with ROH.
I don't think they're backed by HDNet, considering Mark Cuban went on Raw, and he never even mentioned it.
Mark I forgot all about that. I forgot all about that. You think Mark Cuban knows he has wrestling on his network?
Probably not.
Oh,
Sure he
no.
does.
It's not hard. They don't have much programming on there.
And Mark Cuban is the closest thing that we have to Iron Man in real life. Seriously.
Yes, and it's amazing. He's from right up the road in like Mount Lebanon, Scott Township.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
There are
right.
sandwiches around this
Exactly
area
right.
called the Mark Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
Also from down the road, remember the first Joe Schmo from Spike TV?
Yeah, I got to meet him a couple of
I think
times.
he's famous.
We just had lunch at the restaurant that we frequent that he used to wait at before the Joe Schmo days. So
What is going on?
what's going on?
That's all he'll be known for.
That is still to this day.
Remember.
That is my favorite reality show
Mm-hmm.
to this
Yeah.
day.
And then they did the second one, and it had to like stop halfway through the season because they figured it out.
Because the girl figured it out, not the guy. So then they brought her in on it. It's faker and more entertaining than pro wrestling. So, side note, speaking of which, only because I know of this show because of Between the Ropes, I just finished the first season of 24. Wow.
I'm telling you right now, man, you are gonna want to stop after this third season. I think it is.
The third season? We'll
Just
see.
watch till like
I
the third
still
season
won't-
and stop. Because seriously, his fucking daughter gets annoying as shit.
Dare you say that
You
about
start-
my
you
precious
start-
Alicia Cuthbert?
Oh, you can bang her all you want, but you know what? As long as her character gets killed by the creepy guy in the fucking cabin, I'll be happy.
Spoilers!
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm just starting with this. Come on. I'm
the
hoping
hell?
it stays on Netflix long enough. Wait for the
Not a
movie to come
spoiler.
out.
She's the fucking. She's like Princess Peach, always getting into trouble.
Well, at least the wife's out of the way after the first season.
Good way to put it.
So, we end the show somehow, right?
Mayhem Missy
I mean,
learned that Bret Hart does not know WWE changed its name all those years ago.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He had like 3 botches in one sentence.
And another interesting thing, WWE hasn't announced who their guest host is.
yeah, you're right.
And we kind of have a pay-per-view this weekend.
Wasn't it Rob Zombie?
No, Rob Zombie's 2 weeks.
Maybe it's Bryan Daniels.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
It's a switcheroo!
Oh, it's a switcheroo! All right, ladies, and he can be a
Always
guest.
swerve them.
He can be a guest because he's no longer part of the company.
Guest host, former ROH World Champion.
That's what he's on the show to promote.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please check out. Hey, I thought you didn't have anything. What do you?
You told me to come up with something, so I'll
Yeah.
come up
What
with
do you?
something.
What do you want over there?
Sorg, not,
Whoa.
What do you
not
want?
the intro.
Mayhem show just turned into a marital feud.
I want a divorce.
Oh no.
No, I don't want a divorce.
Well, hold on, guys. I just lost the show.
Whoa.
What?
Hold on. Let me see if I lost the last.
Ah!
Oh, that says 43 seconds. Oh, that says something else.
Sorg, what did you just do?
We just crashed and lost that whole 40 minutes. But we have the audio and we have the Ustream video,
Okay.
so I have a lot of editing ahead of me.
Oh,
Basically.
poor Sorg.
Okay, so I have learned that I'm not supposed to tell you what I've learned this week.
Because then it'll break the show.
All right, remind me the.
It was actually the little spat between Sorg and I. It was just like, oh my god, world is ending.
It was too much. All right, that
Computer
just
just snapped.
that just made my night long. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Sorg, you're being cursed out in the chat room for breaking the show.
But I really did learn something today.
Nicole.
Mayhem Missy says the show doesn't like it when Mommy and Dad.
Anyways, what'd you learn, Mayhem Missy? Or what'd you learn about your intern person? Hurry up so I can finish this so I can start my work.
I learned that TNA can be compared to Beauty and the Beast thanks to Mad Mike. But the irony in doing so is that TNA is a little more hardcore about stuff than WWE is. They'll actually show blood and, like, actual stuff.
Stuff. What kind of stuff?
There you go.
Well, you watch the Knockouts match, you'll see what kind
Ah. Ah.
All right, guys. On that note, I got a lot ahead of me since this broke You're probably seeing this on the Ustream if I figured that part out. We'll see you guys next week right here, the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Butterbean, baby.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Please subscribe to our iTunes streams and blog at WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Email us at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com or call us with any comments at 412-206-WMS0. We love to hear from our fans, and who knows, maybe you'll make it onto the show.
The Wrestling Mayhem Show was recorded live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in front of a live internet audience, and is a production of Sorgatron Media.
You can be part of the show as we record live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on TalkShoe.com and Ustream.tv.